Let's get back into it, hey? All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Board Game Gateways Top 10. This is part 2 of obviously a 2-part series where we went through numbers 10 through 6 in part 1, and now we're going to continue on and go through 5 through 1 now to close it out for the end of 2023. Our lists so far, let's go through them one final time before we start going. My list is Hegemony, number 10. Tigris and Euphrates, Race for the Galaxy, Ethnos, and Gaia Project at number 6. Ralph's was Spartacus at number 10, Pandemic Legacy Season 1, Clank Catacombs, Twilight Imperium 4th Edition, and Arc Nova, rounding out 10 through 6. Matt's was Galaxy Trucker, Hansa Teutonica, Touring Machine, Microcosmos, and Tortuga 1667. Blake's was Korra, Rise of an Empire, Decrypto, June Imperium, Ceres, and Northgard Uncharted Lands. And finally, Damien, first top 10 with the group. His was Bus at number 10, El Grande, Mage Knight, John Company 2nd Edition, and Age of Steam. Some great list building here, but we've got to continue building them all the way up to number 1. Damien, we're going to be starting with you at number 5. And look, let's get into it. We're in the business end. We're in the pointy end now, gentlemen. To number 5. Let's hear it. Starting with you.
All right. The last of the new games to make it to my list. I only played it for the first time this year. Immediately went and spent far too much money on the game. Don't regret it for a second. Arkham Horror LCG.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant. Best storytelling in any game I've ever played. I've played multiple campaigns now. I've played one-shots. I've played different characters. Building the decks are a ton of fun. Massive community out there as well, which are just awesome. Just so good. Like, so very good. Love this game.
One of my goals for 2024 is to play this game, because you two and by you and Ralph have been talking this one up a lot, and I'm the first one to admit I'm not a huge into like the cooperative kind of card games like Marvel Champions kind of just fell off a little bit for me, but like the way that you've talked about it, it's like I really do want to give this a shot. It does sound really good. So cool. Arkham Horror LCG at number 5. Ralph, going to come to you. Welcome to part number 2. Let's get started with your number 5, shall we?
So my one is also, I guess, I was nicknamed the Campaigner, and it was mainly because of this game, Gloomhaven. If you can find a group that you can play this game at least monthly, like you got to do it consistently, otherwise it kind of drops down and falls flat a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you can do that, it's a fantastic experience. You basically just play a character, everyone plays a different one, and maybe every 2-3 games you play, you level up, you get new cards, and then eventually you retire, get new characters, and the whole party balance changes, and you're kind of all working it out again, and it's a fantastic experience, like straight out of the box.
Down one position was your 4 game last year, but look,
down one position because obviously, like, I finished the game. We are playing Frosthaven. We have moved on. Frosthaven is definitely the next step up. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone who hasn't played Gloomhaven.
Right.
Definitely jump into that. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. I'm pretty sure it'll always be in my top 10.
Wow, big call. But we'll see next year's top 10 if it's still there. Who knows? All right, we're gonna move across to me now. Go to my top 10, and my first 5 games were like a lot of it was new games that I had played this year. This one is now one that was in my top 10 last year. It's come down a couple of positions, but this one is one of my favorite pirate games that I've ever played. It is Dead Reckoning. It is such a good. It's got such a really cool card crafting system. It has got such a it really does feel like a sandbox of how you play in it, even though it's literally a 4x4 grid of islands. Or 4x3 grid of islands. It is such a fun game. It allows you to play it in ways that you like indifferent. So you want to be a cannon happy, bounty hunter, be that pirate. You want to be a cargo runner who's running away, or you want to be a privateer doing the best stuff. Go for it, right? It gives you those options. It's just a lot of fun, and so much so that I bought one of the expansions, which the Letters of Marquee, which is sitting on my shelf of shame at the moment, but I'm looking forward to getting it played. It's just so much fun. Like it's Also, it does help that the box does come with the best insert thing that I've ever. It tells you here's all the components and here's how they go in the box. It's so good. It just makes like Blayke, you love this one as well. It's just every time we play it, like
it's so fantastic. Every time this game comes out, you find a new way to have fun in this game, and every single style that you try to play, it works.
Yeah,
everything that you can think of to try and do, it just works, and it's lends itself to so many good experiences, and it's one of those games where it allows for player interaction because you all got your own ship, and you can go out and blow each other up, and that sounds like, if I get my ship blown up, that sucks, but if you're in a fight, it actually benefits both parties, so you get the benefit of having those fights and enjoying that, but it doesn't ruin someone's game by having those fights. It's a lot of fun.
I think
It can.
for me, like a game that I have to play 2024, it's Dead Reckoning.
Yeah,
same.
It can absolutely stuff someone's game up.
it can stop people's
You
game
got to
up.
drag your sorry ass back all the way back to port to repair your ship.
The question I have though is that if trains go beep beep, and buses go choo choo, what sound do boats make?
That's my airplane noise. That's as good as it's gonna get. And then when we talk about airplanes, then whatever your boat noise is, I feel like that's the reverse compass of it all. Here we go.
It's true.
All right, so Dead Reckoning comes
Needs
in.
work.
It does. Look. I'll take it back to the writers' room. We'll workshop it a bit. We'll go from there. All right, that's my number 5 game, which is Dead Reckoning. Matt, we're gonna move to you now for your number 5.
Number 5 is, for me, Star Wars Deck Builder.
Nice.
Which, once again, a new one. Lots of new ones for me this year, I think, on the list. But yeah, I've brought this out a number of times. I love this one. As an OT fan as well. It's OT heavy. So...
Original trilogy.
Original trilogy. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, Matt's giving me death stares behind me. It's like, oh,
No, it's fine.
Jane would be giving you. Jane would be.
Yeah, Jane might not be impressed. But
would not be impressed.
that's all right. She doesn't listen anyway, so that's fine. You're safe.
Have you been keeping up on Fantasy Flight website?
No, I have not seen
No.
anything.
The Jar Jar expansion's coming out.
All right, well, take it off my list.
that just
Hang on, where's Isle of Cats? I'll bring it up.
the flying horses at the end.
Pardon?
Was it the flying horses at the end?
Oh no! Don't go.
He's stricken that from the
I
record.
said it's OT heavy.
They're
It's
probably
OT.
That's all he
powerful
cares
card,
about.
These flying horses.
I really like Star Wars: The Deck Builder. It was one of the first like one-on-one games that we played, and I really enjoyed it. It actually feels like a really fun, like it's just actually a really tight back and forth game, and the way that you can bounty hunt cards to stop your opponent from getting them, and
it's cool.
Also, the fact that the actual deck you have is huge. Like it there's a lot of replayability, and well, for me, it doesn't feel overwhelming. Like it's not like a lot of games where there's too many cards. You're like, I can't ever find a strategy because it's so different every time.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with this one.
Yeah, it was good. All right, Blayke, tell us your number 5.
This is another new game. Same thing with Ralph. I don't know if this is just sort of a flavor of the month type deal, but I could not stop thinking about this game after I played it, and that's Anno 1800. This game just had so many moments where you're trying to craft all of these different resources, and you build up this entire maze in your head of where you're heading, and then all of a sudden you find yourself 6 layers into this maze, and you then trying to work your way back. Okay, so if I want that resource, I need that, but if I need that, then I need that.
Yeah.
And you start trickling back, and your brain all of a sudden stops in motion. Oh no, I've got myself in deep here. But I love that. I love that about this game. It scratches that itch of that puzzle itch, and there's a lot of interesting interaction between the players where you can borrow resources for that they've already a producer of, and only a certain amount of players can produce certain resources, and this game scratched.
I feel like you have to do that, because like there's always something you're missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
This game is what I refer to as if you like Satisfactory or Factorio, the video games, you will love this game. It is literally production line the board game, and it is you have great moments where, like in a game we played, I was the only one making shirts, so everyone needed shirts as a mid-tier resource to build other things, and everyone went, well, Nee's got it, I'm just going to go take it from Nee, and they just kept giving me gold because no one wanted to build their own shirt factory, so they just kept coming to me and giving me gold for it. And it provides just some very, excuse the pun, satisfactory sort of moments of just like, oh, that was good. Oh,
Yeah.
but like there was also the funny moments of cannons. Where am I going to get cannons from? And then you're like, oh my God, I'm 4 steps away from getting cannons before I even need to worry about stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm so far. But
Who do I look like? Thomas Edison?
they were classic. Light bulbs. What do I look like? Thomas Edison. It was a great call by Blayke when we played this game. All right. So that's a really good pick at number 5. Right. Let's hear your number 4, shall we? And we'll work our way back.
Yeah, I've got a bit of Damien brain here. I've forgotten.
I feel
Dame
sorry
Brain.
for you.
Dame Brain.
Number 4. Yeah, look, I think I can't remember where it was on my list. I think it's dropped, but it's Twilight Imperium. I've got the same sort of thing as Ralph. I've just played it a little bit too much, but it's still quite high on my list because I've still got the hunger for this game because I've never won.
I was going to say
I've come
before.
second a bunch of times and been within whiffs.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Always just pipped at the end. Matt, I think, was the most recent one.
Yeah. It's funny you
Matt
should
is
say.
the current galactic emperor of our group, so
I only watched the video of our diary the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, I won this thing, and it was such a big day, and I was so exhausted. I still don't feel happy about it.
You weren't even hungover, but you looked.
So tired.
the stress of knowing that he could win.
Yeah, that's right. I was so
It's
close
like,
to the
you're
end.
like, there have been other days where you're like, I'm not in this, or whatever, and you're not stressed. But when you can win and you can be the emperor, you're just like,
so
the whole
tense.
day.
I've only won this game once in real life, and what we did, like you plan out your meals for the day and things like that, and it got to like 3 in the afternoon. We started playing at 9 in the morning. It got to 3 o'clock, right? So it was getting to that last round, right, where everyone thinks there might be 1 or 2 rounds left. I was one turn, like one move away from winning the game in the action phase. Everyone's like, let's just stop here. We'll break for lunch. But I didn't want to be that guy that goes, no, let me like. Then I'm like, they're gonna stop me because there was still a few turns before mine.
Yeah.
So we broke for lunch for like an hour and a half. We came back. I won the game in 1 move. I was like,
Love
that. I'm like the whole lunch. I was like sweating. People were talking, making deals, and I'm just like, oh,
They can
no.
hear my thoughts. They know.
I could not. It was so tough.
You're like that. You're like the meme of Key and Peele where he's just got the sweat.
Yeah.
The entirety of the time.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah, Twilight Imperium dropping down for Blayke, but that's all right. Matt, we're gonna come to you for your number 4.
Number 4 on my list is. It sits on my list because I spent so much money when I bought it, and I just love the theme. Even though we barely play it, it's Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea.
Nice.
I love the lore of Warcraft, and even though I don't play that anymore as well, but that whole fantasy genre I've always loved. So this game just has a soft spot in my heart.
I want to play that again. It's gone up. I mean, so it's funny how sometimes not playing a game or playing it can really affect it because it's like you think about the game, you're like, I really do love how it tries to capture that Warcraft 3 feel in a board game, and it is a game that we have tried playing at 6.
It's too much at 6.
Do it at 4 max. 4 max, really, 3 is really good. 4 maximum. We did it at 6. I was like, oh, way too many people. But like the way that you've got all the asymmetric different factions and how they play, it's just I really do.
And I'm a sucker for a miniature, or a lot of miniatures. So
Yeah, it is. It's a classic
Bet
dude
you
on
Well,
the
you know.
map sort of game. All right, we're gonna move on to
in my family,
We're going to move into my number 4 game here, and this is a game which... Do you mind? We're trying to conduct serious business over here.
Hey, we've been pretty good all night.
Yeah.
We've been on our best behavior. One slight dick joke and we go off the
Don't
rails.
sit us together. It's just nothing but issues.
Every time.
You guys find each other.
All right, we're going to move on to my number 4 game, and my number 4 game is a game that has already been brought up on someone else's list. It is Decrypto. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is not only one of my favorite. It is my favorite word game, but it is just such a great game. It's one of those games that people like. I used to think, oh, I like Codenames because Codenames is much simpler to teach than Decrypto. But now I'm just like, no, I'm just going to teach you Decrypto straight up because my experience with it is this is a game that we can get you sitting down and playing, and then I don't need to give you a full rules explanation.
Yeah.
I can just get you playing, and then I can teach you as we go, and then it will just click through the game, and then once it clicks, chats.
Chats.
Once you have those moments of those funny clues that will inevitably fail, but maybe you'll get one that sneaks you and you feel like the smartest man alive. It's like
one of the things I love about this game, which I didn't mention, is it's almost just as good as a spectator game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To watch and
Yeah, it is.
Both sides, and to see what each of them have been struggling with it. It's fantastic.
And when you see them put out a clue and you're sitting on the side, and it's like, ooh, I don't know if I want to go with that.
But also like that those later rounds where you really have to think hard about your clues, and if your team just figures it out, you're like, wow, that's incredible. You're impressed with yourself and your team.
Exactly. I don't think it's such a small box and such a good game, and it's really hard to explain to people why it is so good. But when it clicks, it's just it's so good. All right, moving on. I could talk about it a lot more. Ralph, gonna go to your number 4.
So my number 4 is a new entry to my top 10. It has been mentioned already, and that is John's Company, 2nd edition. And here's the reason why. I can't get my wife to play Twilight Imperium, but I got Tina to play John's Company with us after a 10-minute conversation about the game. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, you have to play this. I just told her about the game, and she's like, yeah, that's cool. I'll play with you guys. And the rolling teach that this game has...
Yeah, it's fantastic.
allows for new players to join in this 4-hour magnificent beast of a game. And let me tell you a moment where my wife really dicked me hard.
Wow. We're having
Okay.
a look into his personal life.
Talk about miniatures.
Yeah.
There is no miniature, thankfully. But essentially, I was the majority shareholder of the company, and the company was great, and everyone was happy to make money for the company. So I was like, great, as the majority shareholder, I'm going to win the game. Just keep quiet and you'll win. But my wife looked at the shareholders and goes, guys, she looked at the other players and like, guys, we should tank the company. Fuck Ralph. She convinced the rest of the table to go, fuck Ralph. And Ralph had a miserable time for the rest of the freaking game because she figured out we can really cripple him here.
Tank the company.
I got greedy in the game and I paid for it, but I tried to get away with that. And just the moment that created and how the company tanked, and I can't remember who won that game. Actually, one of my mates was like, there's a scoreboard. The score is very low. It's like 0 to 20, but there's -1 or -2 on the map.
It goes up to -3.
And one of my mates, he goes, what's that minus score for? How do you get that? And
We found out.
He found out. He finished the minus.
I will say I've won the game on -1
Oh,
before.
really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Company tanked. I caused it to tank. Everyone else had shares. I didn't have any shares.
Yeah,
I
brilliant.
completely
You went to
divested.
workshops, yep.
Went to workshops, and I lost the point somewhere, some law. But that was the only point I lost in the whole game.
So the reason why it's so high is because this game can allow and welcome new players to a very different game. I don't know of any other game similar to this game, to be honest. And it has some similarities to the feelings I get from TI with the backstabbing, you're planning your turns, moves ahead, and things like that. But like just the rolling nature of this still creates tension. It's an amazing game. So that's my number 4 this year.
Love that. All right, Damien, round us out with the end of number 4, and then we'll get into the medals.
My number 4 is the space game. You guys can keep your TI. TI didn't even make it into my top 50. Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy. Hands down, my favorite space game. Eclipse, it's often compared to TI. It's not.
It's not the same game.
They're two
It is
very
not.
different games. Eclipse, what you are actually doing is you are building a ship, or a series of ships, really. You're building out ship blueprints, and you are traversing this galaxy, and this galaxy reveals itself turn by turn as you explore. And the goal of the game is to get the most points. Invariably, there'll be a point in the game where there'll be fights that will happen. Fights are determined by dice, just like they are in TI. But the best thing about the game is every round, research gets revealed.
You can customize your ships.
And you customize your ships based on the research that is revealed. And so you then have to basically build a strategy. You have to build out your ship. You can't build out all of your ships. You have to pick which ones you want to go with. And they will be the ships that you will build and go into battles with. There are ancients on the board that basically these are protectors. There are also guardians, which at higher player counts, they also have they act as a different type of protector. And beating those are typically worth a bunch of points. You can build alliances with other people. You can do a bunch of other things. And on top of that, every race has an asymmetric ability, which grossly changes how you approach the game.
Also plays in a third of the time.
Yes.
Plays in 4 hours instead of 12.
I painted up my copy.
Looks
really
great. Does look great.
It's just, yeah, look, I love the game. Love it.
There's one of those games that I want to play in person. I've played it online twice, and I'm like, I know I'm missing out on this being in person, but yeah. Awesome. All right, well, let's get into the top 3. Bronze medal time. Number 3, Damien, take us away with your number 3 game for 2023.
I will say my top 3 are effectively all ones. I can't split them. I've never been able to. These are 3 games I will play at any time. In fact, this one I did play recently. Brass Birmingham. Probably the best economic route building Euro.
I can't believe you
out
won
there.
that game. Bloody hell. It was your you know what? It was your birthday. We let you win. That's why you won.
Nah.
It was your birthday.
I went into Operation Stop Knee.
Yeah.
You both dicked me on coal in the second
Yeah,
age.
yeah.
That's
Me-
why I lost it. Yeah.
So it wasn't you taking 1,000 different loans in the game that lost it for you.
Nah.
Literally, like his income kept doing this.
That was my plan. My plan was to have,
Yeah.
I went, instead of having an income of 17, I'm going to only have an income maximum of 10. And every time I go, I'm going to take 30 coins. And I literally was swimming in cash and won a couple of times. It was great. Bryce Birmingham is great. It's one of the, it's the epitome of route building, planning and selling. And, this is one of those moments where, you can get really good at this game, but you can also really affect other players. Like the amount of interplay in this game, because the networks that you build in Act 1 all go away, and then you have to rebuild it, and then you have to either plan it or hope that someone helps. And you guys screwed me over big time because you both realized our knee needs coal.
To be fair,
And neither of us are gonna build this in. You're gonna have to do it yourself.
To be fair, I worked it out, and I was going to lose by 2 points to Ralph.
You won.
No, I was going to lose.
I could have won that game?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? What happened?
You let him win.
I built beer, and then my comment to you was, "There you
I
go,
took
Ralph.
the beer.
You
Yeah,
can do
you're
your
right.
delivery now."
You're right. I fell for the beer. Because I
took
thought
my
if I
beer.
didn't
Good
use it,
old
Neeber
Billy
was going to
Beer
use it.
strategy. Yeah, it's a great game. I do love Brass. It's it's a
You
great
actually
one.
worked that out.
I worked that out.
Oh, wow. Well done. Yeah, I didn't have that oversight.
All right.
Well done.
I wasn't
Good.
that drunk.
Bryce Birmingham is number
tired.
his,
I was
his
tired.
number 3, but could be his number 1 on any given night.
That's a good
Now we
pick.
move on to the number 3 of the man next to him, Mr. Ralph. Your bronze medal.
So my one is Mage Knight, because Mage Knight is a game where simply you're a mage, you go on an adventure, there's different scenarios, but the typical one is you go conquer a couple of cities, and each card has an action where you move, or you can recruit units to help you fight, or you can basically go battle local orcs and things like that. The reason it's number 3, is because it's so, you can set your own challenge. You can make this game as hard as you want. You can make it a walk in the park or make it really challenging. And just the card play is excellent. Trying to maximize your options of there's magic crystals that you can use to power up your cards, and it's a very intricate game. And I've played this game a lot over the years. No 2 games have been the same.
No.
It's always fun when you get to play it with a friend as well.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is that the map tends to dictate the cards the type of cards you go for. So for instance, there's basically 3 different types of cards that you can add to your deck.
Yep.
So you've got advanced action, you've got units that you can recruit, and then you've also got, help me out, Ralph.
Spells as well.
Oh, sorry.
And
So
artifacts.
you got 4 your spells and artifacts as
Yeah.
well.
And wounds.
We won't talk about the wounds.
It just keeps going.
But
So it's a deck builder.
but the point is that if you come across a lot of mage towers, then you're taking a lot of spells. Whereas if you come across a lot of monasteries or villages,
Yeah,
you're
or
probably
keeps.
taking more or keeps. You're probably taking more. You're recruiting more units.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're coming across, let's say, dragons' dens or something like that, then maybe you're taking artifacts instead. they all do different things, and they will all determine how you approach the game.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if you're taking spells, you're probably going to want to try and trigger them at night because you get the advanced,
more
you get the
powerful,
more
yeah.
powerful spell ability.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices to be made.
There are a ton of choices, and
every turn.
And the
Um,
one thing I really like about the game is that every time you take an advanced action card, it doesn't get shuffled into your discard pile.
yeah,
It goes to the very top
you
of
use it
your
straight away.
draw
It's
deck, so
great.
you
That's good.
get it very next turn. So
That's
they-
No, it's like
so-
when you buy a toy at the shops, you just want to go home.
yeah,
and
that's
play
right.
with it. Like,
So it's
Love
cool.
that.
It just changes things up. That little thing not only does it mean you know one of the cards that are coming out next, that could be the card that gives you an extra round for that
or
particular.
like you buy
age.
the card that you need now.
Yeah,
You know what I
Right,
mean? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just so it's just such a great game. So again, this is one of those games where I think it's always going to be up there for me.
I love that. I love it. All right, we're gonna move on to mine now. Number 3. It's a game again that has been on the list out here, and it is new to the list this year because we finally got it to the table quite a bit more, and I got to play with you guys. It's Hansa Teutonica. This is one of those games
Nice.
that I kept trying to push to you guys because I loved this game when I started playing it. It's just the perfect amount of every move matters, and then once you play it a couple of times and the abstraction of knowing how blocking routes actually affects people, there are the audible groans of someone putting down a couple of cubes and everyone's going, "Oh, why would you do?" And like those moments, which the game is literally just putting cubes on a table, like on a board, like putting cubes in routes, and that's literally the whole game. And yet, with those very simple actions, you just get such a great game. And we talked about it already, but I just really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or when someone blocks a route with a disc, douchebag. Such a douche move.
I love those moments of someone going, "Wait a minute, Blake's going for east to west. He's trying to do it. The man's trying to connect it. He's trying to connect east to west. Someone blocking him, right?" So yeah, I really do love.
I think I did that the last game we played.
Yeah,
Actually.
you were
And
pretty
the
sly about it too. We didn't realize till it was too late.
The,
Yeah,
the
that's
last
right.
game that we played though, I did the strategy where there's a specific route in the game where it's only two long,
Cubes, yeah.
and so I took the towns on either side of it and just kept scoring 2 points every time. Everyone's like, "How the hell is Nee getting so many points?" I'm just like, I'm just scoring, like putting 2 down and scoring the route, and no one's noticing. So I'm just gonna keep doing it until they finally notice. Yeah. And I was like, "Oh no!" So there's so many different ways you can play this game, so many different strategies, and it's just I really do love it. It's my number 3, Hansa Teutonica. Matt, with you.
Number 3, another simple one. Plenty of colourful dice in That's Pretty Clever for me. That I fell in love with that the first time we ever played it, and it's now the app on the iPad I play every day trying to beat my high score.
Yeah.
And I have never beaten my high score.
I am going to say something that Ralph is going to be very proud of, which is you need to try Hadrian's Wall, which is it literally scratches that same crossing things off list, like
combos,
the combos and stuff that Gantron Clever gives you, except it's just
It's a much heavier system.
it's much heavier, but it just tickles that exact same system that Gantron Clever does. Gantron Clever, though, I do love for that exact same reason, though, because it is so simple, very colourful, and then it just gets it sexy artsy, as we like to call it, we call it that because it does feel like, when you cross off one, but then you get to cross off another, and then you get to cross off the third. You're like, oh my god!
I think Hadrian's Wall is like the brothel of sexy artsy. Like
Yeah.
it's just so random, honestly. Like it's so
it
huge.
good?
It's like a
That's what I'm
area,
wondering.
like-
So it's like
it's good, but you don't want to go there all the time.
it's like yeah. It's
it's a Tuesday at 3 p.m. Do I really want to go to the brothel of sexy artsy? I don't know. We'll find out.
oh dear.
In the space of 10 minutes, Ralph has told us that a couple of months ago, his wife and his friends basically gang fucked him in one game, and also admitted he likes going to brothels. What's going on at that end of the fucking
I'm
table?
And there's the explicit tag for this podcast. I love it. All right, Gantron Clever. It is a great game.
It is good.
It's. Oh, we have to get some composure again. All right, Blake. Let's see your number 3.
Are you applauding? No, I've got the clap.
Oh god, we got the giggles. Oh, here it is. All right, Blake. Let's see if we can get some decorum back, shall we? What do you got for number
From
3?
me,
Yeah, that's right. Good luck.
my number 3 is one that's already come up. Ark Nova.
Yeah.
Stop.
Get your heads out of the gutter, you two.
Come on.
Yeah, we know. We didn't have to snort.
We all heard it. Yeah.
Sorry, what is it? We didn't even hear what you said.
Ark Nova is what
Ark
he
Nova.
said.
Yeah, no, look, this game scratches all of the itches that you get when you...
I love how it's Ralph that's now lost it.
Lost it now.
He's gone. But no, I'm really interested in trying those expansions that
Yeah, it's just the
that you
one.
were
Just the
mentioning
one, yeah,
because
it's good.
Marine
Yeah,
Life, or whatever it's called, is it?
Is it Marine Worlds?
Marine
Worlds,
Worlds,
yeah. Yeah, look, I really like Ark Nova. It didn't take over Terraforming Mars for me like a lot of other people did. I know they're different games, but a lot of people do compare them. But I do feel that Ark Nova does have some really cool systems that just really interplay really well with each other.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's still pretty high up there for you, Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's still one of my favorite games. I need to play it some more, but
Yeah, we will.
Dropped down
even
one place.
those,
Dropped down one place from last year. It was number 2, but now number 3. But we'll see. We'll
Those
see
are-
what comes up. Well, let's see what your number 2 is right now. Hey, let's go into the silver medals and let's
Silver
hear it.
Medal number 2 is Dead Reckoning. Has to be. Like I said, I just can't talk highly enough about this game. It's fantastic.
So
the
what-
theming, everything.
It doesn't
is-
have a soft spot, does it?
No.
It just-
It's so good from the word go, and then you really do feel like the way that it plays out, as we've already spoken on the podcast, it's the way that it plays out. You can just do whatever you want,
Yeah.
but then sometimes you can feel like, oh my god, he's doing such a good thing, and then all of a sudden you start coming online, and everyone goes, oh my god, Matt's doing such a good thing. You just
the game looks as good as it plays.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just all the facets of the game just come together, and if every time that card crafting mechanic, it just stands out. I've never seen anything like it in another card game, but it's fantastic. It really is the glue that holds that game together.
Yeah, the fact, and that's what makes the game so great, which is that you can come up with an idea for how you want to play, but the card upgrades that you get really allow you to personalize your card, your crew, and you really do feel like your crew has got a very specific flavor about them. So that's one of the other good things about it. All right, Matt, your number 2 as we close in on the on number 1s for the rest of the table.
Pretty sure my number 1 hasn't changed from last year, but this one.
No, I want to hear your
I
number
know,
2
I'm not
first.
doing number 1 yet. but
Right, okay.
I don't know if this game we have played, like I don't know when we introduced it, but Space Base is my number 2, and it probably, if it weren't for my love of number 1, it would certainly be my number 1. It tickles everything: the gambling itch, the space itch, the gambling itch, and I'm sure I've got other itches. But
I was just saying to Blake, like, something on my bucket list to do is actually play the campaign.
I had no idea there was a campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
there is. It's an expansion.
There's 2 different
Shy
expansions for
Blue.
Space Base.
Yeah, once
that's
it's an
cool.
expansion, I think it just adds more cards. But
Yeah.
one is actually like a structured 8 games, I believe. Yeah.
No, I keep coming back to it. Online, in person. It's a lot easier online because there's so many cards you can build up. In person.
Bloody Blake got the USS Armstrong victory.
Oh, I can't believe that.
He got it. He saw it and he goes, "Do I go for it for the memes?" And we went, "Go on." And he goes, "Yeah, right." So then he did. He got
Can't
the
believe it
instant
paid
you
off.
win.
Yeah.
And he did it. So he got it. But yeah,
Actually, one thing I will say, like, I played this game a lot before the Board Game Arena version.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing some cards wrong.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I do. I love Space Base.
I think there are a number of cards where, because of the physicality of moving everything around, you might actually subliminally not want to play them
Yeah,
as much as
exactly.
you could.
Yeah.
When it's digitized, you're like, yeah, I'm hitting that as much as I can.
It's like, what I don't get about it physically, the board is thick. Why isn't it a double layer board where you can slot the cards in?
Yeah.
Predates double layer
That
boards.
maybe.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to my number 2 now, and it is a game that has dropped down from my number 1 spot from last year, and it is Twilight Imperium. 4E has dropped down for me as well. I still do love this game. I mean, it's sitting right behind me up there, and I've bought a whole bunch of like the expansions and fancy
And the
maps and
map as
things
well,
and all that
yeah.
stuff for
It's beautiful.
it does provide something that just I love, which is that I love space epics and space sci-fi and all of that kind of stuff. And granted, I haven't played it as much as you guys played it this year. I actually don't really enjoy playing it on Twilight Wars. I do, but I find that I need to play it in person because I need that flow of thought of the train of thought that flows through the whole day. So, look, we've talked about it a lot on this podcast, and I really do love this game and can't wait to play more of it. But it can't be my number one for this year.
I think that's a lot of what I attach with this game too. Is that whole day of because it takes long to play. It's an event.
It's an event game.
Yeah.
It's a Super Bowl day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think that I haven't tried the online myself, but it's something that's I haven't really been interested in doing because that's a lot of what I like about this game.
Yeah.
Just that whole
In person, for pretty much every game, in person is better in my eyes, but TI shines.
I will say TI is coming to Board Game Arena at
is.
some point, and I don't know how I feel about it. I probably am not going to play a lot of it, but I am happy to see that
I'm really keen
more
to try
people
it.
will have a chance to play it, though, because they may be able to play it online.
Maybe. In my mind, it's like diplomacy. The interactions outside the board are what make the game good.
Yeah, that's
Which
true.
diplomacy also works really well online as well, I've heard.
Oh, we've played a lot of diplomacy
it can.
online, we know.
It can, so long as you still have that community around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we still
People
had
make the game.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so people make the game, and I think this game is great. So, look, that's my number 2. Ralph, going to move to you for your silver medal.
Yeah, so on a similar note, my silver medal this year is Blood on the Clock Tower. And this is, again, the people make the game. The community that is around this game, especially in Sydney, is just amazing. Some
Huge.
beautiful people out there, more than happy to just backstab you, lie to your face, and then just go, yeah, let's play another game. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Personally, I've been running this games monthly locally for over a year. And yeah, it's been great. We're seeing new people every time, and we're seeing a lot of regular faces too. So yeah, really excited. And I'm going to try and keep playing this game as long as I can, because every time one of those nights wrap up, I just can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
I was very skeptical before I played it the first time.
Yep.
And I very much did go, yeah, but like I like Werewolf, but I don't know how much
And
I'd enjoy this.
Now you were lucky enough to play one of the advanced scripts with like some madness abilities and like just some off the charts thing from the base game.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you got to try that and experience the game practically in its
Brutally.
fullest, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just next level.
Oh, it's
You know?
ridiculous. Like you do need to know the game, because once you know the game, obviously, but like you need to know what's going on, because
Like you play the baseline introduction.
yeah, because you need to know how to lie, because you need to know how roles work, so that you can then lie as if you were another role. So if you don't understand how they all work, then you just be like, I don't know how I can get
But
away
that's
with
where
stuff.
you can ask the storyteller, look, I'm bluffing this character.
Yeah.
Can I clarify this?
And I will say
usually it's
that's one of my favorite things, is that the
Yeah.
storyteller is a human element, and there is like they help edit the script and do whatever you need to do. So look, I think it's a really good, like, Blood on the Clock Tower is not in my top 10, but it's just outside. It's like number 14
Oh, really?
something on my list.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
like I went through and I had to look at. So that's that's how I really did enjoy it as well. So for me, it's. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too.
Yeah,
So, look, we played at GooberCon, and everyone at GooberCon really enjoyed
Yeah,
it
they
too.
liked it,
So,
yeah.
I love that. All right, Damien, let's hear your number 2 and your number 1 back to back. Let's go.
Number
And then
2.
we'll bring it to the end.
Number 2 is the greatest Rhino Knizia game ever made, Tigris and Euphrates.
Yeah.
Thought it was Society for a minute.
No. High
That's a
Society
great
is a
game.
great game. But Tigris and Euphrates is the best tile laying game I have ever played. It remains that. It plays great at 2, 3, and 4. It's just that lower player counts, the strategy changes. So the game. So one thing needed to mention earlier is that the end game condition in the bag is one of two things. In the game, is either all the tiles in the bag are gone and the game immediately ends, or there are 2 treasures left on the board. There are these special spaces where you can go and collect treasures. Typically, a 2-player game, you're racing for treasures, whereas at a 4-player game, you are basically battling each other because you're always in each other's faces. My favorite thing about the game, though, is when you let massive kingdoms build up and you'll just turn up and you'll go, I'm going to drop this piece right here. You have no stake in this battle at all.
You just have two kingdoms that you.
But all of a sudden, you've created chaos. You get to pick the turn order as well. Who's fighting who?
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And that could be detrimental because every battle gets resolved at the time. So, for instance, if you have a battle that involves two different kingdoms, you as the instigator, you get to pick which kingdoms, which color is fighting, and who's the attacker and who's the defender. Because that gets resolved immediately, that could drastically change the landscape of the battle, because when a battle is resolved, tiles come off the board.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you've just drastically changed the landscape. While that will not cause new battles to appear, it could change the way the two people that are involved commit to the second battle. So I've played the game before where I've just thrown the first battle, knowing very well that my tiles would come off the board. But what it would mean is that it would mean that for the second battle, the other person would be in a weaker position, and I'd have a ton of tiles that I could use to just say, hey, you've got no chance of winning this battle.
Yeah.
Brilliant game. It's over in like 90 minutes,
Yep.
even at 4 players. Super simple. It's like 10 minutes to teach it. Tigris and Euphrates is brilliant, and
Hopefully they're getting a reprint in the next 12
Hopefully.
months. That's what we're hoping for. The rumors are out there that we're hoping for a reprint. So, look, if Food Chain Magnate can get a reprint or a second edition, I'm sure Tigris can get one. It's just as nice. But yeah, really like. All right, let's get into the number ones. These are our top games for 2023. Damo, let's start with you. Let us see your top game for this year.
greatest Euro ever made still remains. It is what Terra Mystica should have been. Gaia Project. Hands down. Like I said, I've played the game almost 100 times now, I reckon. I've played every single faction in that game.
Yep.
I have certain factions that I pretty confident I could play with my eyes closed.
You and your damn Space Federation, your landmine laying
Yeah.
freaking alien race every time. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I hate when he plays it. I suck against it.
So, no, great game. Great game. We've spoken about it a bunch already. I'm not going to say any more about it other than try it. It's on Board Game Arena.
You taught me on Board Game Arena as
Yeah.
well, and I understood
Yeah.
the game. So
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that I do need to give a second go around. I kind of bounced the first time, although I think we're both online and both not feeling the greatest that night. But
Look,
one of the ones I definitely need
it's
to give
easier
another
to
go.
teach in person, but I know I taught it to Hamish, and it was kind of funny because he went, "Yeah, I think I've got this. I think I've got this." I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yep." So the second time we played it online, and he's messaging me and go, I don't got it. No, I don't got this. No.
yeah,
Yeah,
great.
I'm the same. I'm good with the training wheels on. But as soon as you let the training wheels off, I'm like, what am I doing? And I
There's
fall
so
over,
much.
you
There's
know?
so
Like,
much to do and so much you can do.
Yeah.
It is pretty intimidating. All right, Ralph, what's your number one?
I'm gonna say if Damien can guess what my number one is.
Oh, it's Arkham Horror.
Yeah, it's Arkham Horror. So
I was gonna say.
I
think,
had Arkham Horror like many years ago, and I played one complete cycle, the Dunwich Legacy, loved it, but I was like, oh, it's very expensive, this game, and you have to buy all the packs on their own. It was just very frustrating, and I sold it. And maybe like 4 or 5 years later, just this year, I purchased it again. I played through quite a few standalones, complete cycles as well. There's one more cycle I do want to play before I feel like, yeah, I've got as much as I want of it. But I'm probably always going to say that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I will say the new format. I don't think the new format is much cheaper, but it's certainly simpler because the new format now, what they do is that they release one box with all the campaign for a cycle,
right,
and then one box with all the investigators.
right.
It's
Whereas-
definitely value for money.
Oh, it is.
Like,
Yeah.
With the time you spend, if you play through it once, you've already made that money.
Yeah,
back.
absolutely.
Like, So
That's board game math if ever I've heard it right there.
no.
It's like girl math except it's board game
I
math.
like to think because like each cycle has like say 7 or 8 games.
Yeah,
yeah. Like I'm not going to go into the math because I'll get in trouble. But
But Ralph, if I play this game 7 times, I'm practically making money out of
exactly right. But
it. That's the equivalent of it being free.
exactly. No, but like yeah, I've got a bunch of cards and just the creating different style of decks. And Damien mentioned before, like there's a great community around it online. You just see potential and you're like, oh, okay, this card sounds broken. I want to build a deck around that. And then you make it. And as you play it, you get experience and you make more powerful cards that complement your current deck or play style. And I think the deck I'm playing in a 3-player game with Damien and another friends of mine, it's a deck that I never would build playing it myself.
Yeah, it's wild because you actually pull tokens out of the bag so that they don't affect us.
Yeah, so the bag is essentially a dice roll against the players, and I just like removed all the negative ones for my own detriment because my character can do nothing else. But hey, these guys are winning. So like, yeah, it's just like the options you have to create a great deck. You can make a deck that's full of rubbish. That's more than often what happens, but. When you can pull it off and you play through a campaign and you're winning, that's great. But also when you're losing, you're like, oh no, I've got mental trauma now. Anyways, let's move on. Like it's just such a fantastic game, honestly.
Well, I will say my favorite card so far in the game is a rogue card called Watch This. And quite literally the game is the way it works is that you play the card and you have to do a skill test, but you have to commit resources, and then depending on how successful you are, you get a multiple of those resources back.
Right.
Yeah.
The number of times I was going, watch this, and then failed. Oh, I lost it.
I love that. I love that idea.
Looking, just today, I was looking at some of the new cards actually that are in one of the newer cycles they're releasing, and it's a yellow card. I can't remember the Seeker cards.
Yeah.
And it's essentially you attach it to an asset, and instead of exhausting that asset when you use it, you exhaust this card. So you can use an asset twice in one turn.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, that sounds broken. And then you start shopping around the possibilities.
Yeah.
If only you could do it like, watch this. I'm gonna play this. No, but seriously, watch this. All over.
Yeah, that's a fun. The rogues are fun.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to my number 1 game, which is Brass Birmingham. I don't want to beat around the bush. I've played it a lot this year, and every time that I play it, I'm just like, it's my favorite. I love playing this game. We can now play it in less than 2.5 hours. We played it at your 40th, Damien. We started the game at 10:30 at night, and we were finished before midnight.
And I was a bit fuzzy on that game. Like I needed to relearn a little bit as we played.
Yeah, we started around the 9:30 mark. 9:30, and we're finished before midnight. But I just love it.
Yeah,
it is just top tier. It's so good for what it offers. People like to say it's a very heavy game. The actual game itself is not that complex a game. Where the decision space is knowing how or trying to figure out where Damien's going, where Blayke's going, what's Matt doing, why is he building all the links? Oh my god, he's going to score mega points at the end.
Mechanically, it is a little bit hard to get your head around.
Yes.
It was very difficult to learn.
Yeah. But I think with the right teacher, I think it's a fantastic game. It's my number 1. It is currently the number 1 ranked board game of all time on Board Game Arena. No, Board Game Geek. Sorry, it is the number 1 game on there, and so like we're not the only ones who think that. A lot of people think it as well.
And I think one of the best things about this, and Blayke, need you to remember this one. I beat Neeber.
He did. And Matt, he beat me doing Big Rail.
Yeah.
He went big rail in the second act.
So if you go big rail, you can only go big rail. That's the secret.
The
You can't veg out and just have a little
He
bit.
didn't. He went big rail and he won.
There were beeps all over the place.
Oh,
it was beeping everywhere.
Mate.
It was great.
It was mad.
The beeps
Seriously,
all
the
over the
beeps.
place. All right, Matt. Let's hear your number 1 as well.
Brass Birmingham.
Yep.
But for all of those reasons, also because from the moment that I pulled it out of the box, it's never lived in any house that I've actually owned ever since. It's only ever lived with Anthony. I've never owned my own game there, and I'm more than happy for it to live here forevermore because it always gets played.
You brought it here to learn and said, yeah, keep it here because it'll probably get played.
Yeah,
and it has played. It is the most played big box game that we own. Like I've played it 15 times or so now on recorded plays, but like our group.
One of the things I really like about the game, though, the map itself is very clever. Like, it gives you just enough to have there's not it's not overwhelming, but it's also not too confining.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you've got the right balance where
Yeah.
you can hem yourself in really bad if you make the wrong choice, but you still have options.
So
Yep.
that's Brass Birmingham.
Birmingham,
the
yeah,
one
I have
that
played Lancaster, but
the
it's
one that,
not as good.
Damien beat Neeber in, if memory serves
Yeah.
me right.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is absolutely
one.
the
I think-
one that is.
I think everyone around the show was beaten in that one, haven't they?
I think so. Yeah.
You've also all
They
lost.
actually
You've
finished-
also lost. Not
I
Damien.
don't
as well.
recall.
You've
No.
lost.
I
to
don't
the Eagles
recall.
game, though.
Can you not include me in this
Yeah, sorry, that's
gaggle? Yeah.
I will beat him at Race for the Galaxy. I swear to God, in 2024, it will happen. All right, and to round us off, Blayke, your number one, the last game on our top 10 list, hit us with it.
Oh, look, I think to no one's surprise, it's Terraforming Mars.
Still Terraforming Mars, yep,
It's-
no surprise there.
Look, it's been my favorite game since the day that I played it, and it hasn't moved from that spot. I love this game. We played it not long ago, and same with Brass Birmingham. We didn't need any sort of review of the rules. We all got in, and I think just over 2 hours. Not even
Yeah,
2
Yeah, we
and
actually
half
played
hours. It was-
just over two game of Terraforming Mars. Now, last year you did have Ares Expedition in there as well. You kind of mixed them together. Do you feel that Ares Expedition is up there as well, or do you feel like it's dropped
Look,
out?
I like Ares, and I like some of the changes, especially that you pick which action you're going to take, and you've got that running that risk if I don't take production, then Neeber might not take it, and then we don't produce this turn. That sort of decision base, I do like it, but
Different
I
game,
don't
yeah.
see myself ever honestly picking and going, why would I pick Ares over just base Terraforming Mars? And for me, I like Ares, but I don't think it ever gets to the table over.
So it's just
TFM.
Terraforming Mars and Prelude. You like
Yep.
at that level. Yep.
Yeah, we play with Prelude as well. I finally got my first win over Blayke in Terraforming Mars last game. I was like, I've finally done it. I've been chasing his tail for so long with that game, but yeah, like Terraforming Mars, I do love it. Like we play with the drafting as well. You've
Yeah,
got to play with the
you have
drafting
to,
because
yeah.
that's where all the interaction comes from, and those moments of like, oh no, I can't give Ralph this card, or it's going to Blayke first. I pass it to Blayke. I'm like, Blayke, you cannot let Ralph have a card in that hand. And he looks at it and goes, well, you didn't take it. Maybe I don't want to take it. And it's like, it's so good. I do really, really like
Yeah,
that.
it's a good game.
All right, so that is going to be coming to the end of our top 10 list. Let's read them out here. So, Blayke, your top 10 was Korra, Decrypto, Dune Imperium, Ceres, Northgard Uncharted Lands, Anno 1800, Twilight 4th Edition, Ark Nova, Dead Reckoning, and Terraforming Mars. Some good games there. Damien, yours was Bus, El Grande, Mage Knight, John Company 2nd Edition, Age of Steam, Arkham Horror, Living Card Game, Eclipse, Second Dawn, Brass, Birmingham, Tigris and Euphrates, and Gaia Project. His top three were interchangeable on any given night, depending on how he's feeling. Matt, yours.
My whole top 10 is like that.
Yeah, pretty much. I will say this is the first year I went and looked at my full list. I'm in my top 20, and I'm also like, some of those games in my 20 could have
Yeah.
made the list. Matt, yours were Galaxy Trucker, Hansa Teutonica, Touring Machine, Microcosmos, Tortuga 1667, Star Wars, the deck building game, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, Garnshon Clever, Space Base, and Brass Birmingham. Ralph, yours was Spartacus, Pandemic Legacy Season 1, Clank Catacombs, Twilight Imperium 4th Edition, Ark Nova, Gloomhaven, John's Company 2nd Edition, Mage Knight, Blood on the Clock Tower, and Arkham Horror. And my top 10 was Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory, Tigris and Euphrates, Race for the Galaxy, Ethnos, Gaia Project, Dead Reckoning, Decrypto, Hansa Teutonica, Twilight Imperium, and Brass Birmingham. Quite a few similar there, but you can kind of tell, I think there are some really good games there. So,
Interesting to see if people could give us a bit of a theme for each of us, like to tell us who we are based on our list.
yeah, I'd love people to do that. So, look, we'll have those lists. We'll post them up on our Facebook page. We'll also probably have a link to them in the YouTube collection.
Obviously,
I
arseholes
do.
down that end.
Look, do any of you have any special mentions or honorable mentions that you want to give a shout out to? Have you had anything planned?
Yeah, I do. So I basically had a time of like my year where I just hunkered down at home and like really didn't go out, see anyone for quite a while. And I played a lot of Too Many Bones, like a lot. And that game just stayed set up in the corner of the house and just played it for 10 minutes, went away, came back 2 hours later, played it for an hour, that sort of thing. It was fantastic. Like I had such a great time with that game. Yeah.
I love that. I've had a few. I just want to give a big shout out to you, Damien, obviously for sharing your collection with us and letting us play a lot. Because a lot of these games, I'm like, oh, okay, these are really good games. I really do enjoy that. I will say that Blood on the Clock Tower, as I mentioned, came in at number 14. I was quite surprised it was as high as that's how much I really did enjoy that. But also, I do want to give a big shout out to Ra, which came screaming out of nowhere for that midweight auction game, which is sitting just outside the top 10 around the 15, 16 mark. And I didn't think I'd like Ra as much as I did, but goddamn do I like that game a lot.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Blayke? Matt, any other mentions that you remember?
Look, I mean, I obviously, mentioned it at the start. Spartacus, if I remembered it, I'm pretty sure it would have made it somewhere on that list.
Such a great game, isn't it?
Look, I love Brass Birmingham, but I've only played it the once, and that was a good probably 2 to 3 years ago, so I just don't remember enough.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I've got to play more Brass.
And there's one game that probably wouldn't even come close to my top 10, but it piqued enough of my interest that I don't know, Lucidity, Six-Sided Nightmares. We played it the once. It was, I don't know if it's got the longevity to ever stay as a really good game, but the theming, the interesting mechanics in that game, and just the decision space in that game really, really piqued my interest. I wanted to give a special mention because I really like that game.
Love that. Matt, anything from you?
I really liked Scout this year. That was good fun.
Scout's great.
Scout was
It came out of nowhere and a good theme. But I also, before my niece was born earlier in the year, we played a number of Tavern Masters at home, which was a lot of fun as well. That's probably the deck builder that I have appreciated the most. Recently.
Fantastic. All right, well, that's our top 10 list for 2023 done and dusted. We've only got one more episode for season 2, what we're calling that, which is going to be episode 50, and that's going to be our next episode, and that is going to be our top 10 list of the top 10 gateway games. We'll explain how that works a bit later, but essentially we're all going to select some games and we're going to do some ranking, and then through the magic of ranking them and giving them some mathematical values, we're going to be having our top 10 gateway games for this year. You'll see how that works in the next episode. But until then, we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.